Well, welcome back. It's New Year's Eve here at the Hotel Orloff, and we're having a big celebration with sparkling red grape juice cocktail. Yes, indeed. So, what do you think of the new year 2024 there, Drew the dog? Not much. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me turn the sound down because when I play it too loud, Greta Thunberg gets upset. We were going to look at some 1970s X-Men comics yesterday, and we never did, so figured New Year's Eve would be a great time to go do that. So let's go do that. Yes, indeed. So, what are your New Year's resolutions? Why don't you put it down in the comments section down below, and while you're doing it, hit that like bell or whatever it's called, or thumbs up bell, and ring the bell so that you'll be notified of all future content. Which we don't call it content here. That's a vulgar term. We use the term program for future programs. Yes, 2024. That sounds like it's going to be a fun year. Okay. Well, I was in the comic room a little bit ago doing some organizing of the model kits in the closet. I'll show you what I did. Just kind of organizing it. Now it kind of looks like a vintage hobby shop in the 1960s or something. So that's what I was up to this morning. And I'm going to be taking some of these Star Trek kits downstairs and putting them in a special spot. In fact, I think I'll do it here on this program. But first, you can't really organize comics without music, so let's get set up here. Dang it. Let's see if there's enough light as well. Okay. Okay. Now, Drew, go back this way. I gotta put my chair there. Drew, go that way. Come on. There you go. Go that way. Okay. I have no idea. What is this dang box? World's Finest. Yeah, maybe we'll look at that. Did we look at World's Finest last time? I can't remember. No, we didn't. I know we didn't. Anyway, about the time I started this channel 4 or 5 years ago, I was deciding I was going to separate my Silver Age and back. I'm sorry. My Nixon Age and back. All my comics from the Roosevelt age, what are you doing? The Truman age, the Eisenhower age, the Kennedy age, the Johnson age, and the Nixon age are all stored over on that wall. And the books behind me are from the late Nixon age, which people in the comic book community call the Bronze Age, but I don't call it that anymore because I'm not a member of that community. Nixon Age, Ford Age, Carter Age, Reagan Age, and after that, you don't need to worry about comics from the Clinton Age on up. Nothing to see there. Okay. What am I doing? What if to Wonder Woman? Are you kidding me? Okay, yeah, we looked at these X Factor books. Oh, I wanted to show you something. We were talking about when Wonder Woman, around 1966, it seems like they started doing World War II Golden Age stories. They went back and were doing World War II stories set in World War II in the 60s. And then about 10 years later, when the Wonder Woman Linda Carter TV series came on, they again went back and started doing stories set in World War II. And I was trying to figure out when the stories actually flipped back to World War II in the Ford Age or early Carter Age of comics. I might have been wrong. Let's take a look here. There was they were always trying to solve this comic, you know. They took away her powers and they made her more like Emma Peel from the Avengers. And you know, so this is the first of the Nixon Age. This is from the Nixon Age of comics. And then this is that's, wait, what issue was that? That's 203, and then 204 is what people call a key issue. So, anyway, and so she was back to being super powered when in the late Nixon Age of comics. Then they gave her 100-page giant specials, and then they were desperately trying to sell the comic, and they would put like Superman saying, "Hey, you think you're a sissy buying this Wonder Woman comic, but I guarantee you that you can still be a man and buy this comic." That's what he's saying at the bottom there. And then the Flash says, "Don't worry, guys, this isn't a romance comic. You can buy it. It's okay. It's okay to like girls," is what the Flash is saying. And then 214, Green Lantern saying, "Hey, fellas, it's okay. You can buy this comic. It's okay. It's not just for girls." And then even Black Canary is like saying, "Trust me, it's okay. It's okay." Man, I got 3 copies of that issue. 25 cents. We're moving into the Ford era of comics here. Ford Age. I can't get that right, man. It's the Ford Age. Here, Green Arrow's saying, "Yeah, it's alright, guys. Buy the comic. No one's gonna think you're a sissy." And it just kept going. Phantom Stranger and Red Tornado. "Yeah, come on. I buy this comic, so it's okay for you to buy it." And the Elongated Man said, "Hey, it's okay to buy this comic, guys." Okay, I think that's 219. Oh man, I'm missing 219. I'm missing about 10 issues here. Okay, by 230, it's definitely in World War II. Buy U.S. savings bonds. Okay, 230. I just don't know where between 219 and 230 in the 30-cent era. Yeah, I skipped over these ones yesterday. This is definitely World War II because you see Steve Trevor's uniform there. So that's 231. 232 is World War II. I didn't notice that last night when I was looking at these. See, you can see the tanks there. So that this one you can't really tell that it's World War II, but it is. And then this one, obviously, the villain's got a swastika on him, and much. And they kept going with the World War II stories for a while. I showed you these yesterday. And I ordered one from Gotham City Comics in Mesa, Arizona. You need to call them. They have great comics and monster toys. Gotham City Comics, just Google it. Anyway, I ordered a Wonder Woman comic where a missile's coming at her with a swastika on it. That's I don't have. I don't think I have. So, but anyway, I think I ordered that. I ordered some from him. I know it's in my hold pile. I don't remember if I ordered it or not. This one you really can't tell if it's World War II because she's in outer space, but I kind of don't think it is. Yeah, here you can't really tell because there's like some futuristic space rifle. Let me see. Yeah, this is present day 1970s. Oh, we're up to 40 cents now. Yeah, Wonder Woman was back to present day by this point. All right, wonderful. Well, we're here to look at X-Men, but that's not in this box, is it? Okay. Here's this. That's Orloff. We looked at that box 100% yesterday. When you are trying to avoid cursing, just say Guanajuato, which is Guanajuato is where those mummies are in Mexico. If when you bury your relatives, you have to pay rent on where. I burned myself this morning. You have to pay rent, and if you don't pay your rent, they dig your body up and put it on on display. And because of the way the soil is there, the bodies are all mummified, and now it's a tourist attraction. You go and see the mummies of Guanajuato, and sometimes Mexican wrestlers like El Santo and the Blue Demon will have to fight those mummies when they come to life. I saw it in a movie. Okay. Oh, walla boy. Long boxes are not good. When you get over age 40, you don't want to have long boxes. Short boxes are the way to go. Okay, so I just wanted to go through my. I think when the camera shut off yesterday, I was looking at this parody comic. It's a parody of the X-Men. I wouldn't necessarily seek it out. It's not that great. Okay. Issue 77 is a 1960s reprint. It's an early 20-cent comic from the Nixon Age of Comics. This is 83, which is also a reprint of a comic from the Kennedy Age of Comics being reprinted in the Nixon Age. '92 is also a reprint, but we're getting real close to '94, which was the first, second appearance of the new X-Men, but the first in their regular run. They first appeared in a comic that some people have heard of called Giant Size X-Men 1. I heated up some ham this morning for breakfast. My wife and I feasted on it with some potato salad for New Year's Eve morning, and Drew the dog got some, and both cats got some ham. So the whole family feasted on we're going to go to our favorite restaurant. They're open tonight for New Year's, and we're going to get a nice meal. I wasn't there for issue 94. Like I said in the last episode, this friend of mine told me, hey, you need to start buying these books, and I didn't listen to him. He must have had 94 or 95 because he was talking about these new X-Men comics I needed to get. Well, the first one I got, those I got later, those reprints. First one I got was 97. I bought this off the newsstand. And 25 cents. I think Ford became president during the 25. I need to do some research, but this is from the Ford era. I'm pretty sure. Carter was elected president in November of '76. Well, anyway, that's 97. So I don't. Well, that was 97, right? So I'm missing 94, 95, 96. I won't ever be able to buy those. But 99, I bought off the stands. Okay. And 100 is also another one I bought off the stands. Maybe I could get an idea. Looking for a copyright on this ad on the back with looks like Greg Brady flying it. Okay, 100. So I don't have 101 or 102, but I do have 103. 30-cent era. This would be the Carter Age of Comics. I've got 2 copies of 103. Okay. And then I don't have 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110. It looks like it came back from 111. And I think this is probably about when John Byrne started. When John Byrne started, it got really amazing because John Byrne's art in that time period was great, and John Byrne was not writing the stories, so when he writes, he needs to just do art. 113. Holocaust at the heart of a volcano when falls Magneto. You see Holocaust on the cover of a lot of comics in the 1970s, during the Nixon age and the Ford age, and I think even in the early Nixon age. I don't know if I saw it really used in the Johnson age, which is the mid 60s. Holocaust, they would never use the term Holocaust anymore on the cover of a comic or in the title of a story, because now Holocaust means one thing, which is the genocide in World War II. I think what happened in 1978, or 78 or 79, there was a miniseries on one of the networks called Holocaust, and I think when that came on, then the word took on just one meaning. It was no longer just fiery destruction. It was particularly, when you hear Holocaust, it meant one thing. And sometimes words change meanings over the years. Yeah, and we're up to 78 now, because now you have the copyright date up there under the price. This is 114. The last one was 113. I think from here on, I have a complete run. I bought this every month until it got to the point where they had these little baby dragons and stuff. It seems like, and maybe John Byrne left about that time. And I'm very sensitive to artists. And when a good artist leaves and they get an artist that's not as good, sometimes I lose interest, even if it's the same writer. 116. It got bad though in the 90s or maybe in the late 80s. There were so many X-Men comics on the market. 117 here, they flooded the market. These I put into MyLite bags in the early 1980s when MyLites first came out, and they're still perfectly good. It just I don't have backing boards because back then backing boards weren't really a thing. And maybe I should maybe I could find some backing boards that would fit into these old MyLites. Here's 119. Ooh, I am missing 120. Okay, well, you know, sometimes things happen, you know. 120 is missing. That's when Battlestar Galactica was going to be the next big thing. 121. Ooh, wow, I'm missing 122. Here's 123. I remember buying this one at the 7-Eleven. They actually had a pinball machine right next to the comic book spinner rack. I believe it was a KISS pinball machine, but I could be completely wrong. That could be just one of those weird memories. Ooh. What is going on? 123. So I'm missing 124, 125, 126. Here's 127. You can get reprints very cheaply because they reprinted these in the 90s, and then they gave you like extra stuff at the back. What? I didn't realize I was missing so many of these. I'm missing 128. Here's 129, which is one that they just did a facsimile of, isn't it? In fact, I think I bought a facsimile of this because I wasn't sure if I had the original. And I was going to put that facsimile in here. Now I don't know where that facsimile is. Anyway, I think so. Okay, this is the one that all the morons are speculating on now because there's some rumor that Taylor Swift is going to play Dazzler, so 130 is big right now. This is one I bought at Lone Star Comics. It's direct distribution. It's got the diamond and it's got a little line through the UPC code. Later they would change that to a Spider-Man head. But I'm sure the newsstand one is the one that all the people that slab comics want. Here's 131. So we're definitely in the Carter age of comics. This is the Star Trek movie, came out in 79. The next year, Reagan would be elected. Ooh, I have 2 copies of 131. Wonder why. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I can show you. Because one is a newsstand, and one is the one that you would be at in the comic store. And that's the difference. The one in the newsstand has these wonderful lines, and this has a Spider-Man head. So people pay a premium to get these lines. Because they say there weren't... Well, in 79, it wasn't until later that there was still... I think half the time I bought my comics at the newsstand instead of at the Lone Star Comic Shop near me. Later on, there's the comic books in stores started to dry up, and definitely by the 1990s. I think in the 1990s, that's when a newsstand version might legitimately, you might say, well, there's fewer of them. But 132, that was where comics died, is that they stopped selling in the 7-Elevens and the drugstores, and they went to only selling in comic stores, and that's right about the time that kids also were able to play video games in their homes and not just in arcades, and that just killed the comic book industry, at least for kids. Yeah, from here on out, I think I pretty much have a complete run, because I was really hooked on this comic at this point. I didn't realize I was missing all those issues. 135. 136. 137. This comic could be worth $2,500 to you, it says at the top. Yeah, they started putting these advertising things at the top that really was kind of ugly. Here's 138. Win a Toys R Us shopping spree. 139. I assume this is the first Kitty Pryde. Maybe it isn't. I don't remember. 140. We're in 1980 now, which is the dawning of the age of Reagan. He was elected in November of 80. Okay, here's one that was definitely just reprinted, I think last week or the week before, in a facsimile form. I don't have the newsstand. I bought it at Lone Star Comics. This is the Days of Future Past. They made a really pretty good movie based on this. It wasn't really that close to the storyline here, but it was a good movie. Yeah, the first two X-Men movies, were great. The third one was not, and then Days of Future Past was great, and the X-Men First Class was great, and the old man Logan. No, they just called it Logan. That was good, and the second Wolverine movie that was just called The Wolverine. I like that, but there were a lot of bad ones too. Oh, I have 2 issues. I have 2 copies of that one. I don't know why. One is newsstand and one isn't. Yeah, I don't know how these are, which ones of these are key issues and which ones are valuable now. 144. I should fill in those holes though, if I can afford it. Oh, I got 2 144s, and one is a newsstand and one is, okay. I didn't do that on purpose. 145. I'm not really sure how that happened. 146. Oh man, how do I do this? 148. Another 148. 149. Okay, I've got a newsstand, Anna. That's weird. I got 2 of this one. Interesting. Okay. Ooh, why am I missing 150? I gotta look. Wait. Is that 150? I can't read that, man. Does that say 150? I can't see. No, this is 160. This is 160. Okay, this is 151. And then I go to 160? Whoa. What happened that caused me to skip 10 issues? Is this one, did it get bad around this time? 160. Maybe this is when John Byrne left. I don't know. Something happened where my interest must have waned. Here's 161. The artwork is definitely not John Byrne here. 161. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is these are these dragons kind of based on Alien, and the artwork's not as good. It's not as captivating as it was. It's 162. 163. Yeah, this is that time period I'm talking about where, I don't know, it looks good, but for some reason it kind of put me off at the time. 164. Something makes me think this is some valuable thing. I don't know. Um, um, yeah, people are speculating on that for a little bit, I think. Oh, I got 2 copies of that. How about that? Whoa, 164. Wait a second. I gotta get my magnifying glass. Oh, this is 158. It's not in the right order. Okay, so I have a 158. Maybe there's just a lot of comics out of order. Okay, so there's 160. I had 151, then 160. Okay, so I had a 158. Okay. 164. And then I got a 168. 169. 170. Yeah, the cover starting to get pretty ugly there. That's pretty ugly art. 171. And then it continues on in another box, which is probably that box down there. But who needs to see those boxes? No one cares about that. What's in this box down here? Oh, look at this. This is even better. I got hungry this morning, man, and took a bite out of this comic. Joe Palooka. This is in my Harvey box down here. Here's Playful Little Audrey. It's a 12-cent book. It's definitely not from the Kennedy age, but is it from the Johnson age or the Nixon age is the question. Come on. Come on, man. August 67, it's the Johnson age. Nixon didn't come in until he was elected November 68 and when it came in January of 69. So this is Johnson age, the Johnson age of comics. It's not bagged and boarded yet. It will be at some point soon. Never fear. More Little Audrey. My gosh. November 67. Thanksgiving of 1967. Little Audrey. My earliest little dot appears to be 80. I wish I had more little dot comics. Or is it the earliest? Yeah, well this one looked earlier, but it's older. 95. I mean, it's more recent is what I meant. 95. This is a beautiful cover, but they kept changing the price at a garage sale. 10 cents, 5 cents, no, 10 cents, but it's a beautiful cover. In fact, I should have this on a comic wall, except I don't have a comic wall. 119. I didn't know I had this creature from the Black Lagoon looking guy. Little Dotland, number 50. It seems like I've seen people show that on TV shows, and I think, boy, I wish I had that. and it turns out I've got it. This is cool. This is definitely from the Kennedy age of comics. How can you guess? She's reading about President Kennedy while sitting in a dotted rocking chair. And those of you that know about history know that John F. Kennedy, who's depicted as a very hideous guy there, had a back injury, I think from the war, and he had a rocking chair, famous rocking chair in the, I guess in the Oval Office that he would rock in that would help his back. They even show Alfred Newman as Kennedy in that rocking chair and on the cover of a Mad paperback called The Mad Frontier. It was a play on the New Frontier, but when Kennedy was assassinated, they redid the cover and made it Frontier like the Old West, and so they put Alfred Newman, as I recall, in a stagecoach or something. I got a lot of Harvey comics here. Here's Little Lotta in Foodland. So, they all had their personality quirks. Casper was a ghost that was friendly. She was a fat girl. Being fat was her personality. She was a girl that liked dots. Richie Rich was a boy that liked to buy things. Oh, this is a beautiful cover. Nightmare the Galloping Ghost and Casper the Friendly Ghost, #2. I got this at, there was a great store in Fort Worth called Collected Comics. And looks like it was $5. So what is my earliest Richie Rich? Number 50. I'm just showing you highlights. I've shown you all this stuff before in past episodes. This one I bought as a kid. And it's impossible. They print these numbers against this purple background, and you cannot read them. Even with the magnifying glass, I can't make it out. They put black ink on purple, and you can't read the number. But you can tell this is from the Nixon age of comics. A lot of Casper in outer space covers, because I think they painted Casper on one of the lunar modules or something. But there's a lot of, from that time period, a lot of Casper going into space. Here's Casper in space with a weird looking satellite. Casper and Nightmare the Horse in space. No, I was telling you that I reheated the ham up, reheated it from Christmas this morning, and I cut the ham and everything, and then I picked up the glass dish that I had reheated the ham in, forgetting that it was blazing hot, 400 degrees, and I burned my finger. That's what I was trying to tell you a little bit ago. And I think I start these stories and then I forget. These Nightmare covers are great. Seems like she's always flying in space. Isn't that beautiful? Or she's flying against the pink background. And then Harvey would sometimes have newspaper comic strip adaptations. Another Dagwood. Here's man, I've never even taken this out. This is from Half Price Books. They sealed it ridiculously with like tape. I'm gonna have to get some kind of blade to get this out. I've never bothered taking it out. Half Price Books went nuts with that one. What's my oldest Casper? Oh, here we go. Casper. It's a single digit. It's Casper number 9. And as the older issues, the heads are much bigger on Casper, Hot Stuff, and Richie Rich. That's how you can tell it's a really old one. The gigantic heads. And this is another one from that collection. Stevie, Mom, December 14th, 1959, Houston Townhouse, 1105. The mom wrote even what day she gave the comic to him, and their address, and even the street number. I got some of those comics. I was showing them before from Duncanville Books, which is a suburb. Well, Duncanville is a town right next to Dallas. It's right next to Oak Cliff. Both towns, you can tell, were once very nice towns, but they've kind of fallen down somewhat. Oak Cliff had already fallen down quite a bit by the time that Lee Harvey Oswald was living there. Oh well. How about that? This was a giveaway. If you were a kid on American Airlines, they'd give you this comic to shut you up. Oh, here's another one. Here's the 1970 edition. I got whole bunches of these Harvey comics. If you want to look at them, let me know. People are telling me they want to look at DVDs. I could do that too. I think, I wanted to look at the Atlas Seaboard comics this morning. Let's try doing that. Because I just found a box of them. The reason I pulled this box out is there was an issue of the 1960s Thunder Agents comic that Gotham City Comics in Mesa, Arizona had, and I looked at it and I said, do I have that copy of Thunder Agents? And I couldn't remember. And so I looked, and I had to find where my Thunder Agents comics were, and I found them, and it turned out I didn't have that issue, so I just got it from him for like $5. It should be here in a few days, along with some other stuff that I ordered from him a couple of days ago. And because in this box I have these assorted things, like I have these Tower comics, and I have which is the company that put out Thunder Agents. So these are the Thunder Agents comics I have. This is great Wally Wood stuff. This is Dynamo number 2. And then Thunder Agents number 2. And Thunder Agents number 4. And I have Thunder Agents number 7. I wish I had all of them, but I have Thunder Agents number 9. And 13. But the one I saw that he had like a reddish cover with this green ghoul in the background looking on. Number 15. And number 18. And here's 20. I'm missing a lot of them, aren't I? Well, these are the ones I found over the years, you know, wherever, you know, there's another copy of that issue. There's got to be a better way to do this. Oh. You guys almost fell right over. Okay. And then there I have these Tippy Teen comics in there too. A bunch of them. Okay. Huh. And I've got this in there. That's odd. Well, I guess I got to put it somewhere. Reprints from Psycho, from PS Art Books. I was reading, somebody on Facebook was explaining why we should never read Alter Ego again, because Roy Thomas supports Donald Trump. It's like, no, that's a great thing. I think Roy Thomas is great. What he's done for the comic book industry as a fan, as a professional, and now kind of as a fan again with all his Tomorrow's publications and stuff. Okay, well, why are these in here? I guess they have to be somewhere. Oh yeah, well, I have Nancy and Sluggo and a couple of issues of Nancy and Sluggo. What's the name of this company that did this? This is the Captain Marvel. I gotta get better light. I got an idea. Let me, hold on a second. I'll be right. Oh, wait a second. What's in this darn box? Brave and the Bold. Okay, that makes sense. Let's put you over here. That won't work. Okay. I don't know if that's good light. Probably not. No, that isn't. Oh, I know what I gotta do. So, what are your New Year's resolutions? What do you think's going to happen this year? You hear people predicting that some horrible disaster is going to be staged so they can delay or postpone the election since they know they're not going to win. Have you heard that said? Or is that just wild conspiracy theories? They're going to first, they say there's like a whole, like 20 states that are trying to take Trump off the ballot. Used to feel like a whole different country, didn't it? Doesn't feel like America anymore. Oh, there's commie stuff happening. Okay, so what were we talking about? Captain Marvel. Sorry, I had to use the restroom. Okay, Captain Marvel was sued by DC, and the lawsuit finally came along in the 50s, and Fawcett went out of business, stopped publishing. Captain Marvel outsold Superman a lot. It's just a fun comic, and they stopped publishing. And then in the Johnson age of comics, mid-60s, this other company said, well, they're not using Captain Marvel, so they started doing this Captain Marvel comic where he splits apart. It only lasted a few issues. Then Marvel started putting out their own Captain Marvel, and then when DC, who had sued Captain Marvel out of business, apparently they acquired the characters of the company they had sued. In the early 70s, around 72, they put out their own Captain Marvel comic, brought the original creator-artist back, C.C. Beck, to illustrate it, and then they had to call it Shazam because Marvel had already trademarked the name Captain Marvel out from under them. So they called it, with one word, Shazam, the original Captain Marvel. And that looks like he's fighting Batman too. Oh, kind of. Like, if you showed that to your grandmother, she'd think, oh, I'm buying my grandson a Batman comic. She wouldn't know. They changed the character a little bit by the next issue. He looks a little less like Batman. What was I talking about? Oh, anyway. So then there was a TV show on Saturday mornings, Shazam, and they still called him Captain Marvel in that. Now, in the comics and in these two new movies, he's just called Shazam. He's not called Captain Marvel anymore. How about that? It's ridiculous. Okay. From the Johnson Age of Comics, 1967, it's Fat Man, the Human Flying Saucer. And now this, it says, written and drawn by the creators of the original Captain Marvel, O.O. Binder and C.C. Beck. So, this was their attempt to come back. And on the back it says, a lightning comic, the Now Comics Group makes the scene with Captain Shazam, cool boss, tough, fab, a turned-on super swinger at your newsstand soon. Watch for this happening. Milson Publishing Company, 295 Madison Avenue, New York, New York, 10017 for the big first issue, which never happened. This comic never came out. Here's a beat-up copy of Mighty Mouse. I wonder if this would fit in one of these... because even though it's from the, it's 10 cents, it's either from the Kennedy age or the Eisenhower age. Well, you know, you kind of, with the comics code, it's good bet it's from the Eisenhower age. Ooh, beautiful artwork in here. Where? Um. Okay. 1958, the Eisenhower Age of Comics. Um, you know, the Roosevelt Age of Comics was the age of superheroes in World War II, and then the Truman Age of Comics. Comics got darker. The superheroes went away. There was crime, and there was horror and science fiction and things like that. And then the superheroes were kind of gone. And then this is the Truman Age. And then Eisenhower came in right at the end of that boom, but pretty much not long after Eisenhower came in as president, the Comics Code came along, and so late. Will this fit? I would say no. So the early dawning or the rebirth of superheroes would be the Kennedy era. You know, with the space and space age and atomic radiate. I mean, every one of the Marvel superheroes, if you think about it, was turned in. Almost every one of them has radiation of some sort, causing them to become the hero. Fantastic Four, cosmic rays, the Hulk, gamma rays. Yeah, radioactive spider. So that the Kennedy era brought in the superheroes again. That's the early Marvel stuff and the Justice League and all that. But the Johnson Age of Comics, that's when everything was really cooking. During the Johnson Age, that's when it was really great. And Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, it was just the Galactus trilogy and everything was during the Johnson Age of Comics. Here's another Mighty Mouse. These didn't survive too well over the years. Man, look at that. Is that a man or a woman? You tell me. Scary. Probably a vampire. Probably still looks the same today. Okay, well. I have 2 copies of this. This is not an issue of Iron Jaw. It's actually the Barbarians. And this is a one-shot. This says the first issue is the only issue from Atlas Comics. Why am I hiding the price? It was $2. Like, I'm embarrassed that it's $2. From Collected Comics and Games. This is a good store in Fort Worth. But I have 2 copies of that. This one's a little... I was looking these up also because Kevin Johnson at Gotham City Comics in Mesa, Arizona has a copy of this. Now, whether he put it in Missing Mars grab bag, I don't know. If he didn't, this might still be available if you need a copy of it. Here's The Brute #1. This is my childhood copy. It was Atlas Seaboard's attempt to do the Hulk. This is Atlas. Here's the story. Martin Goodman was the publisher of Marvel Comics. He intended his son Chip to become the publisher after he retired. Instead, Stan Lee became the publisher. He got pissed, and he said, I'll start my own comic company. I'll let my son be the publisher, and I can do it just as well. I'll just start it over. You know, he thought he knew how to do it. So this is The Brute, also known as the Hulk. And it really looks like Marvel Comics. They got really good artists to come in and do the art in these books because I don't know if they paid them higher rates or let them let them hang on to their original artwork or something, but they got some big names coming in. I was not able to be part of the dawn of Marvel Comics in the Kennedy age or the Johnson age of comics. I was born in the middle of the Johnson age in '65, so when these comics came along around maybe late 74, 1975, I thought, wow, a new comic company starting, and I'm there at the beginning, and I'm all excited that, I'm there buying the first issues of these things. I felt like a kid must have felt in, 1962, 63. But none of these comics lasted more than 4, maybe 5 issues. I don't think any of them lasted 5 issues. And usually what happened is they had 2 issues, and then they realized that it wasn't selling very well. And so this is the Cougar. And then on the 3rd issue, they kind of reinvented the character. Like already, he or she had a different costume, and maybe, they were trying to desperately hang on, and it just didn't work. Demon Hunter. This character was owned by the creator, and he brought the character back as a Marvel character with a slight name change. Demon Hunter. The Destructor. So this was a big FU to Stan Lee and to Marvel. He was trying to, and he's got, that's the thing, he hired Larry Lieber to head up this comic company. This is, you look here, it's the pencils were by Larry Lieber here, and the inks by Wally Wood. It almost looks like Steve Ditko there. So that's a childhood copy. Destructor #1. So here's Destructor #2. Okay. Here's Destructor #3. This character that kind of looks like Thundra. This needs a bag and board. Everything was very different with these. They had different kinds of ads for the Flintstones model kit, Aurora model kits, Planet of the Apes model kits, Star Trek model kits, I think Jim Steranko had a deal where he got a page in every one of these to do advertising, if I'm not mistaken, to promote his stuff. And then they have some of the Atlas characters trying to sell these toys. Planet of the Apes home movies. It was just like the ads were very different and unique. But this was just really something when these comics came along. I wish I had all of them. The ones that are really hard to get are here's Destructor #4. I don't think he ever really changed. His costume stayed the same through the run. This is Fright. Fright, the title's there, starring Son of Dracula. Marvel had Tomb of Dracula. You can't copyright the name Dracula, so they did Son of Dracula. The Grim Ghost. Oh, I don't have a Grim Ghost #2. But there was something about these comics that just seemed a little weird. Sometimes they would have curse words like damn and hell. And sometimes things would happen in the comics that just didn't really quite seem like they should be in comics aimed at kids. And it turned out that Martin Goodman, I guess he'd hired someone to be over the color comics that had worked for Warren and the more comics aimed at a slightly older crowd. and then he hired someone to work for the black and white versions of these, because there was a black and white line that went with Atlas, because Marvel had a black and white magazine line. And then the guy running the black and white line had worked for kids comics, and it was like a weird mismatch, something like that. I don't know, my mind's forgetting all that stuff. Here's my childhood copy of Iron Jaw #1 with a Neil Adams cover. Man, that could definitely go in a better bag and board. Courtesy of Charlton66, who sent me these bags and boards as a Christmas present. Just wanted to see that they're being put to good use. My childhood copy of Iron Jaw #1 and Iron Jaw #2. I'll reuse these bags on something. Iron Jaw was their Conan the Barbarian, basically. They also had a Wolf the Barbarian, as I recall, which should be coming up. And it looks very much like a Marvel comic. I'm not sure why these didn't take off. It seems like I had friends at school that talked about buying them. I don't know. There's another copy of Iron Jaw #2. So how are you guys doing? What are your New Year's resolutions? Here's #2. #3. Finish high school at home. Years later, kids wouldn't have a choice during the pandemic. Iron Jaw 3. Oh, I have 2 copies of Iron Jaw #3. I have 3 copies of Iron Jaw #3. Here's Iron Jaw #4. And another copy of Iron Jaw #4. Wow. Pablo Marcos was the artist. Yeah, these were called the Atlas Seaboard comics. And even the name Atlas, Marvel had once been called Atlas, so it was just like okay. John Target Manstalker #2. Another copy of John Target Manstalker #2. And here's one of 3, but I don't have 1. If there's someone that would trade a copy of 3 for a 1, then I would have that. Okay, I remember Morlock 2001. When 2001 was a futuristic date. Morlock 2001. Oh, yeah. Here's the page. Jim Stranko. The top is an ad for his magazine, and the bottom is an ad for his history of comics. And I can't tell you how much I stared at this page. You know, look at the Dr. Zaius, Mr. Spock, the Black Terror. I didn't even know who the Black Terror was, but it sure looked cool to me in 4th grade. Yeah, that's when these hit, in 4th grade for me. Morlock 2001. Morlock 2001 #2. This is not a childhood copy. This one's not in the condition I kept comics in as a kid. Oh, this one has Michael Fleischer writing and Al Milgrom as the artist. Yeah, they got top talent. It just, there was something, a lot of these comics were a little darker than, there wasn't any flag-waving Captain America type characters. It was all kind of darker. Or Fantastic Four kind of. It was all. This is one I remember. The Phoenix, #1. Okay, so look at what he looks like here. Phoenix #2. And where does the change happen? Okay, it's in the 4th issue. Here's #3. So a lot of these in the 4th issue it changes. So you saw how Phoenix looked, right? He looks like that. And the next issue, he's got a far wilder costume. And now it's Phoenix, the Protector. And Phoenix is still there in tiny print. And this cover is just wild. And they made him a lot brighter. Man. So that's how they did it. In the 4th issue, on a lot of these, that was probably the most obvious change. This was a really good comic, Planet of the Vampires. There's a movie called Planet of the Vampires from the 60s, but this isn't related to that. Just a lot of fun. That's Planet of the Vampires 2. They changed the logo in 3. I don't know if there was a 4. Some of these only got to issue 3. Here's Police Action featuring Lomax, New York Police Department. This is #1. Another copy of 1. Nope, that's the Scorpion. That's Howard Chaykin art. Scorpion #1. Scorpion #2. Oh, here's a couple that need bagging and boarding. Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad. This is, well, the only Marvel had, you know, Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, and they had Combat Kelly, and but this seems to be more made to look like a DC war comic to me. Here's Sergeant Stryker. No, Drew. Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad #2. She can't possibly be hungry with the amount of ham that she ate for breakfast. Wait, this one's got a bit of a rolled spine. Will it fit? Yes. Okay, Sergeant Stryker. Where'd the other one go? Savage. Oh, there. This is the name of this comic is actually not Sergeant, it's Savage. Savage Combat Tales. So it would really go before Scorpion, technically, and after Police Action. Okay, here's Tales of. Where's my Tales of Evil 1? I know I have Tales of Evil 1. What? Or do I not? I think Tales of Evil #1 had a werewolf cover. Maybe I don't have it. Tales of Evil #2 is the introduction of the Bog Beast, who's like this corpse. He's another one of the. He's Atlas's version of,